Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, to another edition of the Degen Docs. OG Degen Doc here, SGPN Football Doc. Quick shout out to my co-host, Professor Locks, Mr. Derek Bennett. Brother is celebrating a happy birthday down in Disney World, so cheers to Derek. But have no fear, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are not just going to be staring at my ugly mug all night, because we have a special edition tonight. I am joined by our resident best ball expert, Mr. Andrew Robb. How are we doing tonight, brother?
Good, buddy. Good. Fantasy playoffs are here. Best ball playoffs are here. So, everything is coming to a head right now. And, man, I cannot be more excited.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got playoffs. We got fantasy playoffs. I saw, if you haven't been checking them out, make sure you check out Andrew at ARob23 over on X there. My guy's got quite a few teams moving on in Best Ball Mania for that shot at a nice, cool $4 million. What's your advance rate there, brother?
Yeah, so advance rate ended up being just under 23%, which is better than average. So I'm pretty happy with it. 24 out of 108 entries in, had a few sneak into the top 10,000. So already I've earned a nice stack of cash before the playoffs even start. So yeah, man, it is very cool. Shout out Underdog for all the cool stuff that they do and all the tournaments that they put out, because they seriously pickpocket me every single week.
Yeah, no, that's Underdog is a lot of fun, and that's why we're gonna do just more of it tonight. We already got Mr. Jamie in the chat. What is up, Jamie? Saying what's up to both of us here. Glad to have you as always, brother. Let us know what questions you got. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, what we do here on the Degen Docs show is we turn those questionable tags into something we can explain. We're breaking down the biggest injuries for fantasy football week 15. And it is playoff time, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So it is time to lock in. No more Mr. Nice Guy. We are getting down to business. So just before we get talking about these big injuries, I want to tell you guys about Hall of Fame bets really quickly. So obviously, all my fellow Degens, we love to search for our player props, parlays, even in ugly games like tonight, where we have the Los Angeles Chargers heading out to Sin City to take on the Las Vegas Raiders. We got to find some action, whether that's a no touchdown for a score, Easton stick rushing, whatever it may be. One of the best ways to do this is go ahead and use Hall of Fame bets for all your sports betting research for parlays, player props, and game lines. Go ahead and use that promo code SGPN to get 50% off that first month. That way you can see how much you love it, figure out, wow, this really helps me. And you will make that money back in your first month to make paying that full amount no problem at all. That's what we like to do here over at SGPN. Give you guys, whether it's free money or discounts, we're all about helping the people win. All right, so we are going to head on over into the injury report to start breaking down some of the biggest injuries here. Go ahead and pull that up. All right. So first up, we're going to talk about some of the inactives that we got going on here tonight. So already for week 15, a couple guys I'm going to quickly list who are out already, and then we're going to see, where we can start pivoting in some of these situations. So we got Keenan Allen. He's out tonight. He had a heel injury, did not practice all week. Unfortunately, Mr. Justin Herbert, fractured finger. He's out for the season. Josh Jacobs with a quad, more of a knee hyperextension injury. He's going to be out with not practicing all week. Alexander Madison, Jonathan Taylor, both of them out as well. Did not practice. Taylor still all coming off that thumb surgery. We might spend a little bit more time on him talking about when he's going to be back. Alexander Madison picked up a new ankle injury. So we got a few guys already ruled out here on Thursday, pretty early on. So Andrew, what are some guys on the waiver wire target? Let's say I got Keenan Allen. I got one of these guys. Who's some players that I can plug in and help me secure that dub this week?
Yeah, obviously, it all depends on, size of your league too. So I'm going to hop into one of my leagues so I can look at some live waiver wire guys that may be on here. Do a 12-man league. Some of the guys, obviously, if Ty Chandler's out there, Ty Chandler, it's a decent matchup. Cincinnati ranks 17th best at stopping running backs. So it's not a bad, not a bad spot there for Ty Chandler. Obviously Zamir White, if you're listening to this right now and can get him in your lineup, that's not a bad spot either. I think that he will see, probably in the range of 12 to 13 touches, which, in this matchup could really pay off for you. Some wide receivers I like. DeAndre Hopkins, believe it or not, is on a couple of my waiver wires in 12-team leagues. He's playing his old team. I kind of feel like there's a revenge angle there that could be beneficial. Obviously, we all know what Derrick Henry does against the Texans, but even with Derrick Henry doing what he usually does against them, I still feel like DeAndre Hopkins can get enough work with a very confident Will Levis now. Again, Hopkins is out there. Let's see here. I'm just kind of going down through some of the guys that are out on this waiver wire here. Chris Godwin was dropped in a couple of my leagues, believe it or not. If he's playing, which I believe he is, I saw questionable. He misses a practice again with a knee issue. Anything in there on Chris Godwin?
Yeah, so Godwin is he's been pretty beat up this year, right? So deal with that neck stinger, it's dealing with the knee injury. Godwin's one of those guys where it's definitely going to be risky. I mean, at this point, we got to see if he plays, right? He did play last week, so it's he's been kind of banged up all season, so it's kind of figuring out, is it a new injury or is it just kind of their maintenance throughout the week? So I would say he truly is questionable. We got to really see tomorrow. I think it's going to give us a good idea on Godwin.
Yep.
Yeah.
Another wide receiver that I've seen out here on a couple of my waiver wires is Rashad Bateman. The reason I bring that one up, and I know he's not been very good, but he's separating from defenders more often than not, which if Lamar has time to throw the ball, Rashad Bateman can definitely be the beneficiary of some downfield targets. Zay Flowers is obviously, the main guy there now that Mark Andrews isn't there, but I do like Rashad Bateman to kind of open up the playbook for himself a little bit. And I know OBJ's been very good, but I don't know, Rashad Bateman, there's just something about him that I think Lamar still likes Rashad Bateman and can trust him. It's just, do they have enough time to throw the ball? And, obviously the Ravens like to run the shit out of the ball as well. But Rashad Bateman is somebody, that I feel like can at least, or should at least be rostered, if not playable.
Yeah, no, I like those guys. Definitely like Chandler, right? You have one of those situations where you probably need to pick him up a little bit sooner in the week, but with Madison being rolled out, maybe your league is sleeping, so you can go ahead and pick him up there. So that I love that. So we're gonna go ahead and start moving into some of these guys who are a little bit more questionable coming into the week, and we're gonna kick it off with rookie quarterback CJ Stroud. So Stroud dealing with a concussion here. So last week, he poor weather, tough defense. It was a really just overall tough day for him. They were kind of getting the shit kicked in, and he took a hit a little bit late, but he took a hit and the head knocked off the turf. Clear concussion symptoms, was ruled out of the game pretty quickly. Now, the way the NFL is handling concussions in the past, as recent up to this season, it was pretty much 50-50 if the guy was going to play or not. They actually, the research was saying more like 70% of guys had a good chance to return in the same week. Now, the start of this season, that was not happening at all. Call it the Tua effect, call it whatever you want. The NFL was clearly being more conservative, and there was really no one getting I got a concussion last week, they're going to play this week, until Brock Purdy a couple weeks ago. And now guys have started trickling in. So this was one of those things where it truly is a little bit questionable. But unfortunately, Stroud has not practiced yesterday, which is kind of normal. But today, usually if a guy is going to play on Sunday, they will at least do a limited practice on Thursday, a full practice Friday, and then get cleared by Saturday to go ahead and go in. So at this point, Stroud, unfortunately, is more doubtful than he is questionable. So knowing that, Andrew, what are you thinking as far as, all right, because I know I got CJ Stroud in a couple leagues. What are some quarterbacks that you could think of pivoting off to there?
Man, actually, I really like your replacement player to target in Matt Stafford. I mean, come on. I watch the Commanders week in and week out. That secondary is dog shit. I mean, you got Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp coming to town. I mean, yeah, man. Matt Stafford could go for a 3 or 4 touchdown day on this secondary. Like, honestly, I mean, and people are going to kill me on Twitter for, kind of hating on Kyron a little bit, but honestly, man, they can just do all the damage through the air. Kyron really won't have to do anything if they don't want him to, because the secondary is dog shit. So it's, again, I love the Matt Stafford one. The other one that, when I look at a list of players here that are available, I kind of like Russ Wilson at Detroit. Think they're going to need to put up some points. Detroit's probably going to be able to, put enough points up that Russell Wilson's going to have to kind of pull some magic again here with Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy. So I kind of like Russ Wilson. Another guy that I could potentially see having a good week as well is Jake Browning, man. Believe it or not, and I gave
Sixth in Heisman voting back in the day, huh?
Yeah, man. I gave David Heilman, shout out Dynasty Dorks, some shit about Jake Browning when he first kind of came on the scene a little bit, but lo and behold, man, he's been, holding his own, and they're making the offense work for him. So Jake Browning is interesting as well. But if I had to pick, Matt Stafford's definitely the guy to go after.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. I mean, well, for you as a fan, as a Commandos fan there, that's tough to say, but if you're co-signing that against your own team, who knows your team better than yourself? So there you go. I like that. And that is actually who I will be playing most likely. I do have Kyler Murray as well, but I just don't love the matchup. So I think I got to go Stafford there with Stroud being out in that league. Let's see there. Yeah, Jamie's talking. He lost Stroud and Herbert and Cousins. Jeez, brutal. Mac Jones bench, Trubisky or Mullins. Yeah, I'm going to agree there. You want to go, definitely, I think you got to go Mullins there. You want to elaborate?
It has to be Mullins. Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, I'm not going to start Trubisky. I mean, Trubisky might get benched at some point, so I'll take Mullins.
Well, yeah, as for those who don't know, went to school in Pittsburgh, married into a Lurs family. We are very much hoping in this household that we see a little bit of Mason Rudolph. I actually got the opportunity to meet him there when I was working in Pittsburgh, and he's a good guy, definitely a goofy dude, but he can definitely. I got a little bit more confidence in him slinging the rock than Trubisky fumbling the game away there. All right, we're gonna keep moving along. We're gonna keep it in Houston. We're gonna talk about wide receiver Nico Collins, who has, there was questions of, do the Texans actually have a wide receiver one this year? And I think he answered those questions pretty damn well as far as producing this year. So Nico Collins has been a beast. I've enjoyed having him on one of my teams. Unfortunately, he picked up a calf strain, got ruled out pretty quickly, which always tells you once a guy gets ruled out right away or pretty soon after the injury, you got to start worrying for next week availability. Obviously, yes, this game, it sucks, but you got to start thinking like this is probably an injury that's going to take a couple weeks. And unfortunately, it looks like the case with Nico Collins. Picked up calf strain, just refers to some damage to your calf muscle, like a hamstring, high re-injury risk. In very, very mild cases, you will see guys play a week after, but typically most guys miss around 2 weeks after a calf strain. So I didn't really have high hopes for Nico Collins coming in. As a manager and myself, I was hoping that we would get some good news, but he's had a DNP twice this week. So anyone you're looking to pivot off of there, Andrew?
Yeah, man. It's tough out there right now with the wide receivers. There are a couple. If you're getting lucky, everyone should be looking at their waiver wires after it runs to see who people drop, because again, like sometimes people just drop good wide receivers for whatever reason, and you want to snatch those up. But now that we've gone a couple days here with the waiver wire, I see that you have Wandale out there. I don't mind Wandale. I don't mind Jalen Hyatt. Like any Giants wide receiver that you believe in. Isaiah Hodgins is the guy who caught the last touchdown. I'm okay with doing that, with Mr. DeVito out there slinging the ball around. It is not a bad,
baby. Tommy Cutlets.
Yeah, it's not a bad, it's not a bad option for sure. Some of the other guys though that might be out there that you want to kind of look for is if anybody has lost any faith in Gabe Davis and has dropped him. I know he could get 0 for you, but he could also go for 90 and 2 touchdowns, right? Like they're playing Dallas.
Boomer bust. Yeah,
for sure, 100%. And they play Dallas. They're gonna need to put up some points. That's a decent one to pivot to. Obviously, we have Noah Brown, we have John Mechie, we have Robert Woods, we have Xavier Hutchinson. We have all these Texans wide receivers that you could go after. But if Stroud's not there, I wouldn't take any of them. If Stroud is there, Noah Brown's the one I want to target.
Yep.
But Robert Woods and them are interesting as well if you really need to dive deep.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. I think with Stroud, the potential for Stroud being there, it was a lot more appealing. With the likelihood that we're going to see Davis Mills, it really just kind of just takes me off their whole wide receiver core.
Yes, definitely. And either of the Packers wide receivers, the Bucks secondary is bad. Either Dobbs or Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed, I know, is dealing with I believe an ankle issue right now, but I don't think it's going to keep him out of the game.
No, Packers, very similar to the Patriots. If you're watching injury reports like I am, they like to list almost everybody on their team limited and questionable, but most of those guys will play. So the true DMPs and the guys that are not practicing are the ones you're concerned about. A lot of their limited are usually going to play. So I like the Jaden Reed for sure. As you mentioned, the Giants fan, I'm watching that game closely last week. He was the only guy that was really scaring me. Obviously they didn't have Christian Watson out there, But Jaden Reed's involved. Two guys actually I want to talk about, Wan'Dale Robinson and Jaden Reed, both involved in the running and receiving game. I think that gives them another element. I think they're both the most dynamic players on those offenses. So, as far as the guy that's going to be game breaker, obviously, you have Saquon Barkley, but everyone knows about Saquon Barkley. Wan'Dale Robinson's a guy for the Giants. And then, like you mentioned, Jaden Reed for the Packers. I think if they're out there and you need someone, I think that is probably a nice floor, a nice enough floor, but it also has a higher ceiling than most of the guys you're going to find.
Yep. No, I agree fully.
All right, so we're going to keep moving on here. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you guys got questions, injury questions, it is the playoffs. This is no hold bars time. Go ahead and drop those in the chat, and we will get to them. Already talked about Herbert, unfortunately, out for the season. But now we're going to talk about a couple guys here, some big names that got a questionable tag this week. So we're going to start with Mr. Justin Jefferson. We all saw him finally get back on the field after 9 weeks off with that hamstring strain. Unfortunately, only lasted a half until Dobbs threw him a shot over the middle to just get absolutely leveled, and he did. Raiders safety took him out pretty well. So he went to the hospital, got rolled out. It was precautionary, thankfully. So it looks like he's just dealing with a rib contusion, really just a big bruise to your ribs. Yes, it's painful. Yes, it sucks, but most guys play through it. They play with the flak jacket. They get an injection, and they kind of can figure it out. So is there any way that you are pivoting away from Justin Jefferson here?
Man, so I was on an island last week of not playing him. I didn't take him in any underdog battle royales. I just can't trust. I mean, a rib injury is bad. Like, I had a rib injury and I know what that feels like. I would not be one to sprinting across a football field, potentially getting smacked in my stomach. So, I mean, it's the playoffs. How do you sit Justin Jefferson? I would really look at it this way. If your bench is deep enough that you have guys that you feel fine starting over him, I would do it. If you're looking at the waiver wire and you're like, I don't know if I want to really start these guys over Justin Jefferson, then just go with Jefferson and hope for the best. I mean, it is really hard to sit the best wide receiver in fantasy when he's healthy. So I can't tell you to sit him, but if you got it deep enough, I would shy away if you can with a good pick.
Yeah, no, I think, and it sounds crazy to say, but I think it's a start for most of us. But if you, like you mentioned, like if you're got a good enough team and you've stacked up, I know in one of my leagues I got like Mike Evans, Devontae, Garrett Wilson, Nico Collins, always trying to figure out, which of the three can I get in there. If it's a situation like that, yeah, maybe, because you're right. I was, even myself, I thought, the hamstrings 9 weeks, he should be good to go. And now this injury was a lot less predictable. But still, I mean, hey, he hasn't been playing football. So when you don't play football, shocker, it's hard to come back and just jump right in there, right? So I think for most of us, Jefferson would be a start. But like Andrew said there, some caveat there. All right, before we move along here, just quick shout out to Jamie. I love this math as a Giants fan. So Packers beat Patty Mahomes. DeVito then beat the Packers. So by football math, Tommy DeVito over Patrick Mahomes. I'm just going to let that one sit and not comment too much. I know Giants community is all torn up about what should we like DeVito, what about the draft, blah, blah, blah. If you're a fan of football, you want your team to win, at least in the moment. I think it's very hard to root against your team. So I'm going to take DeVito for what he is. And if he's going to keep winning, I'm going to keep drinking and have a good time. So we are going to move on to another big guy here, Tyreek Hill. So Tyreek Hill, we saw him last week in that Monday night doubleheader, which shout out to ESPN. That was a blast. I hope they continue to do that format. That was a lot of fun. He was getting tackled. He kind of got horse collar tackled, a little bit of horse collar, a little bit of a hip drop tackle, and the foot kind of got caught up, and it was concerned for a high ankle mechanism. So high ankle compared to a low ankle. So low ankle sprain is what we typically think about when you're playing basketball and you roll your ankle to the outside part of the foot. Those are a little bit more common, a lot more common, and a lot easier to rehab. High ankle refers to the ligaments between your tibia and your fibula, two lower leg bones. Takes more force to cause, therefore it takes longer to repair. There's more damage done. Those injuries can be a bitch. So even in mild cases, 100% doesn't really come until 4 to 6 weeks. So we obviously saw Tyreek Hill return to the game. So obviously, I think he's going to try to play. Now, he has not practiced these first 2 weeks, which I've kind of expected him to be limited in practice. I would expect him to give a limited practice tomorrow and then give it a go on Sunday. He's going to be limited. I think even probably, we're going to talk Jefferson we just talked about. We're going to talk Hill now, and then we're going to talk Jamar Chase. I think out of all three, he's the most limited coming in. However, he's the biggest part of that offense. I think Miami, we all saw it last week with them losing the Titans. Like, that offense needs Tyreek Hill to go. So they may force feed him the ball. So, figuring all that, what are your thoughts on Tyreek Hill this week, Andrew?
Yeah, man. He gave me a lot of hope when he, one, ran off the field after getting hurt. And then two, he came back in the second half and was running at what looked like the same speed that he always does. So he gave me hope. But at the same time, man, do they really want to risk him? I mean, they're pretty much a shoe-in for the playoffs, right? Like, do they really want to risk losing your best player to some dumb injury out there this week? Like, I don't know about that. I mean, honestly, and I'm gonna, just ask you, like, if he's not 100%, but he is gonna play, your best guess, what is he playing at full speed wise? Is he 70%? 60? I mean, like, what do you honestly think? Because that's what's going to keep me from keeping him in my lineup. Is if you tell me he's only going to be 60% and he potentially could be re-injured, like, why really put him in the lineup and get a 0?
Yeah. So I would say, based on how he came back in that game and how he looked, I would say he's probably going to be closer to 75, 80%, which a week after high ankle sprain, I usually don't think. But, again, these are professional athletes. Sometimes the healing works a little bit quicker, or they can just work through that pain better. So he looked pretty good when he came back. I was surprised. Now, the re-injury risk is absolutely going to be there. So, it's one of those situations where can you really sit Tyreek Hill at 80%? I don't think so, but you are going to run the risk that if he gets, similar to Mahomes in the playoffs, we saw, it doesn't take a lot to re-injure it. And, at that point, the Dolphins may decide, you know what, we tried to throw him out here. He got re-injured in the first quarter, and we're going to have to pull him, and he's going to be done for the day. So, it's one of those, like you mentioned, it's really, really hard to really, like, am I going to sit Tyreek Hill, like arguably the MVP of the league? I think that's another situation similar to Justin Jefferson. Like, if you have options that you can trust more, sure. But yeah, like Tyreek Hill's Tyreek Hill. He may make us look all stupid and be out there with 80% and put up, 2 touchdowns and 80 yards. There's just that re-injury risk that makes this a lot harder of a decision for people. So that's one of those real judgment calls. And hey, that's what separates the winners from the chumps, right? It's playoffs time. So definitely one of those situations. If you did not check out the video, I have it on my X here. It's in the article, but he basically said that his wife told him to stop being a baby and get him in. So I know, shout out to the wives out there that really motivate us to get our shit together. So I just thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah. So yeah, the last thing with Tyreek is that, I mean, if you're telling me he's going to be around 80%, I'm sticking him in the lineup. And if he happens to re-injure it and he only got one catch for 40 yards or whatever, then so be it. It is what it is. But I mean, you got to look at it this way. Are you willing to go to bed that night with a loss, realizing that you sat Tyreek and he went off for 120 and a touchdown? Or are you willing to go to bed sitting him or, playing him and he gets hurt for 2 catches for 40 yards and you happen to lose, right? Like, I need to live with myself with my decisions as well. So I always look at it that way. But yeah, I think Tyreek Hill's fine to put in the lineup if you're telling me he's going to be roughly 75, 80%.
Yeah, no, and that's a great way to break that down there. All right, real quick, we're going to talk about Jamar Chase. Not quite on the article yet. He kind of had the most minor of injuries. It looks like it was just more of that low ankle sprain type injury. Both him and Jefferson have said they're going to play. So I don't even know if he has an injury designation coming into this week on the official injury report. Because remember, we got 3 Saturday games this week. So you got your Thursday night today, you got your 3 Saturday, you got your Sunday and your Monday. So make sure you're setting those lineups there. But yeah, so, Jamar Chase, one of those situations, minor ankle injury. This one we won't spend as much time about because I think it's an easier injury to come back from, and it's Jamar Chase. So at least for me, I think it's one of those where you got to start him. Vikings defense has been playing better. However, I don't think they have anyone who can cover Jamar Chase. Do you got any quarrels with that, Andrew?
No, I think that you're fine sticking him in there. I also don't mind playing T. Higgins as well from the same team. Again, I think Jake Browning's doing a decent job with the offense. But yeah, I mean, Jamar Chase is fine. You should definitely feel okay playing him. I mean, let's see, where do I have him ranked here? I have him ranked 12. So I still have him as a wide receiver 1 fringe, wide receiver 2. So yeah, I think that's completely fine.
All right. Last little question here, and then we're going to head on over to Underdog, and we invite you to join us as we take down the Battle Royale this week. We got one from Jamie here. We go in Fields against the Browns defense or Stafford in a great matchup. I will let you go first, Andrew.
Oh man, so I actually have Stafford literally one spot in front of Fields right now. I would go Stafford because it's the matchup, but with that same sentiment, if you're in a 4 point for passing touchdown over 6, I would truly consider Fields there because of the rushing upside. If it's 6 point, then for me it's definitely Stafford. But I don't think you can go wrong here. I think they both have good days. Fields probably just more or less on the ground. Caveat of all of this though is no DJ Moore. No Fields for me. I'm not playing Fields without DJ Moore, even with the rushing upside. It would be Stafford 100% if there's no DJ Moore.
And that's a good point. It's another guy we can talk about real quick. Yeah. So picked up an ankle injury. He did finish the game. Actually, after he suffered the ankle injury, it was on that end around. He scored a touchdown and got like 6 catches. So another one of those minor ankle injuries. I think he did not practice yesterday, limited today. I expect DJ Moore to play. I actually like the Bears in that matchup as far as from a fantasy perspective. I think there's going to be more points in that game than people think. The Browns defense as well. They're missing 3 key starters, and they're potentially going to be down 2 of their secondary guys. So this is a tough one, just like you mentioned. I think I'm going to just co-sign what you said. If it is a 6 point, if it's a 4 point passing touchdown league, I think I lean Fields here over Stafford because of the rushing upside. However, I don't think you can go wrong either. I think both guys put up 20 plus days there and get you off to a pretty damn good start. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So right now we are about to head over to Underdog Fantasy. But before we get on that site and we all battle it out to win 30 grand this week, we are going to tell you about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy, we got the holidays coming up and people do Christmas presents and things like that different ways. Let me tell you, nobody is not going to love some free money. Let's be honest. We've all got some uncles and cousins. And when you take the typical cousins walk and you walk around and you do what you got to do there, just let them know about Underdog Fantasy. Hey, I can get you a free $100. All you got to do is use that promo code SGPN. I promise you they're going to like that better than any bullshit tie or something that you want to give them. Let's give them some real money and the opportunity to give them even more. If you're really sharp, you'll be like, hey, promo code SGPN. And I got a nice little 5-teamer. We can go up to 100x to really make this a hell of a Christmas. So check out Underdog Fantasy and make sure you use that promo code SGPN for a free $100. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here, and Mr. Andrew is going to pull up the draft. All right.
Yeah. So while I'm getting in here, I did want to ask you one more injury question real quick. Dalton Kincaid. I know he had like a finger or like a thumb and shoulder injury. Anything on them? I saw he was limited again today. You think he's going to play? Can we expect maybe less than 100% Kincaid and Knox might get more involved? Like, where are we at with that?
Yeah, I think it's one of those situations where, let's be honest, most guys in the NFL are pretty beat up at this point. I think he's just kind of get some bumps and bruises. I do expect him to play. Knox was full in practice, so I think it's one of those situations where we could see a little bit more Knox. I think at this point, Kincaid should be the guy, but they do have a tendency to like Dawson Knox. So I think it's less the injury. The injury I'm not really concerned about, but yeah, I think Dawson Knox taking away some of Kincaid's targets definitely a concern. So less the injury, more so just how they want to play that there.
Yep. Okay. Okay. So you are going to be drafting in the same draft here, correct?
Yes. So I've got it pulled up. I'm ready to hit enter on my phone here whenever you are ready.
All right, we'll count it down here. If anybody else is in the chat, Jamie, if you're on Underdog and you want to join in, please get it up and ready because these do fill pretty fast. So, all right, Sebastian, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay.
All right. Looks like 4. 2 more to start.
You up? One more to start here.
Yeah, one more. All right, so we should be good.
And you guys will be able to see pretty well. So why don't you break it down, Andrew? Tell them how this works, and for those unfamiliar.
Yeah, so this is all the main slate for this week. So all 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock games for this week. It's breaks down by you have to have 1 quarterback and 1 tight end, at least 1 running back, and at least 2 wide receivers. Then you get a flex that you can use as a running back, wide receiver, or a tight end. So there is no 2 QBs in this. And I mean, yeah, honestly, like the strategy for it is I like to go after games that have higher total points. Obviously, you want a lot of fantasy points, as many as you can get. It is half point for PPR as well. But yeah, man, I mean, all the same rules applies like best ball. You kind of want to stack your quarterback with a wide receiver or a tight end, unless it's a running quarterback. You can get away with a Fields or a Lamar Jackson without stacking. But you would like to stack. I also, usually like to have a bring back in the same game. So if I'm taking, Debo and Purdy, I'd also maybe like to bring back with Trey McBride, something like that.
Yep.
Really just think about game theory is how you kind of want to do this. But let's see. Are you Mrs. SGPN football doc?
So we just talked about the holidays, right? You wanna help the wife out, go ahead and get her a free $100. So this is I forgot which one I was logged into. It looks like I'm on the wife's one tonight. So let's hope that she helps take down this 300 or 30K here.
Nice. There you go, man. You better hope that she don't win like that, because then everyone's gonna be like, wow, she really knows what she's doing. Sebastian, what are you doing?
I know I might have to bring her on next as a guest if she really takes this down. So we will see. But these drafts are fun because they're pretty quick, right? So we got Andrews up in the 4 spot. Up there's only 6 teams, so I will be on the bring back as far as last up and first in the next round.
Man.
What are you thinking here?
I'm gonna take CD. I mean, he normally doesn't fall to 4. This is like my 10th draft already on this. Like, he usually goes number 2. I will take him at 4 to be different a little bit, though. I was really considering Cooper Kupp there if Lamb didn't fall.
Yeah, and we'll see if Kupp falls to me. No, he did not, unfortunately.
You got some interesting options here. If you want to go Diggs, Allen, to have that. Tyreek is still sitting there too. You could do that.
Yeah, I do see Tyreek. I will probably stay off Tyreek. I'm gonna do.
You got back-to-back picks here.
I know. Yeah, where
4,
is
3, 2? There you go.
So I'm gonna go Ayuk there, because I'm a huge Ayuk fan this year, and I'm also gonna go with your guy here, Mr. Puka Nacua.
Ooh, yes, Puka.
And for those that do not know, Andrew Robb, maybe you have the first person to have discovered Mr. Puka Nacua, despite what the haters may tell you.
Actually, shout out Jacob Gibbs. He's on the CBS podcast, but he has an awesome Twitter page that he just puts a bunch of different random stats. And way back early summer, he posted. Oh, actually, I'm up.
I was gonna say you got 10 seconds there.
Man, you know what? Just because an Underdog, if you take a player that is ruled out, Underdog will automatically switch it for you for the next remaining best player at that position in your draft. So I'll actually take the Tyreek Hill hit here, but Jacob Gibbs was
a steal to get Hill so late. I didn't think he'd go that late.
I think so. I don't see him fall too far in most of these drafts, so I'll take it there as my second receiver. But yeah, so shout out Jacob Gibbs. He kind of he put some stats up about what Puka Nacua was doing in college and how he separated and just different stats. So I started to watch some game film. And I'm like, man, this guy is really good. And Couple's going to be out. So it just seemed like a good fit. And he even did better than what I thought he could potentially do. So I don't want to take all the credit there, but yes, I will be ordering myself a Puka Nacua shirt that says Nacua Matata. It means no worries. Has him with this nice luscious hair on it too. So
I like that. All right, looks like you were up next.
So I'm actually going to take the game stack here with Josh Allen and CeeDee Lamb. I know it's not a stack of the team, but it's same game.
Yeah,
I'm going to go there. That. I mean, Bills back against the wall, man. I really feel like this is a letdown spot for the Cowboys. They've been rolling as of recent. It's in Buffalo, cold. Dak's over here. Yeah, ready. It's just the Bills. Here we go. So yeah, I really do think the Bills are about to kind of lay it down on the Cowboys, which I know you and I both don't mind watching that.
We do not mind watching that at all in any way here. I am gonna go. Here's where I'm going to go. I'm actually going to go DJ Moore here for the first up. I'm getting a little heavy on wide receivers there. So I'm going to go ahead and take Mr. Saquon Barkley. I think that Giants offense, actually, I like them this week. I think, going up against New Orleans, that defense was good, but between all the injuries and everything, the last 5 weeks, that defense has been really bad. So I think that we can have a situation where the Giants can find some offense. And so give me Bart Saquon there. And I should be fairly set on my wide receivers here. Yeah, with Ayuk, Nakua, and DJ Moore and Barkley. Unfortunately, I've not got to a game stack yet, but stay tuned. It will be coming up here.
Yeah. Oh man. So I got Allen, Lamb, and Hill. I like Rachaad White. The Packers are bad against the run. I'll take Rachaad White there. Also, if anyone's new to Underdog and want to kind of, get a leg up on these drafts, if you take a look and see who doesn't have certain positions and you need them, or if they do have them and you need them, you can kind of wait to like, there's only one more person needs no. So there's two people who need quarterbacks. So like, honestly, you don't even really, we're coming up here, but a lot of times if you look and people take quarterbacks early and you don't have one, you don't have to worry about taking one because you can just wait till the end because nobody can take two. So, you definitely want to look for those little advantages that people may not know about.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I'm obviously going to be taking a tight end and quarterback here. Looking at my options, I'm hoping that Stafford drops to me there. And I think I want to go Stafford and McBride, but we will see. What do you need?
So I need a tight end, and then I have a flex I can fill here.
I see.
Yeah, damn. You know what? I'm going to take Trey McBride. I wish I knew if Kincaid was playing or not, or at 100%. I would take the Kincaid and or Knox there, but just can't trust it yet.
Bastard sniped McBride and Stafford from me. So
yeah,
we are going to go one of the guys we talked about in Justin Fields. And then for my tight end, interesting. I think I will go Kincaid against Dallas. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think I got to go Kincaid here. I think that he could still have a big day. I'm thinking about Cole Kmet, but I will go Kincaid. I think he's just a way better player than Kmet is.
Yep. Got some decisions here. I might go James Cook because that's the only guy I can stack with Josh Allen right now. I mean, I could do Knox, I guess, as well. Knox is so interesting. I just don't think that there's enough targets for him to really pay off. I think in regular fantasy, yeah, but in these battle royales, like you want 15 plus points. Like I think he would have to get 2 touchdowns.
Oh yeah,
I will take James Cook here and go from there.
I like Cook. Yep, he's been getting way more involved recently.
Yeah, I think this week too in the battle royales, if you look at the QBs, like there's still QBs down here that I don't mind taking. If you want to be different, take Kyler Murray. I know the Niners defense is really good, but I mean, if he runs 2 in, like that's going to set him apart from the field. Sam Howell is going to probably throw the ball 80,000 times against the Rams.
Yep.
That's always good to have. There's some interesting quarterback dynamics down here. I mean, hey, you know what, Sebastian, you might want to put yourself in a Danny DeVito lineup before the week's over. I mean, with what he's been doing, man,
listen,
you definitely be different.
I'm enjoying it, but I'm not letting it get to that point. You know what I'm saying there? We're not quite there yet. All right, so 6-man draft here. It looks like our own TD King, Mr. Andrew Robb, has the highest projected score out of the draft summary there. We'll see if that means anything. But no, let's go ahead and why don't you read off your final team? I'll read off mine. We'll wrap this thing up here.
Yeah, hold on here. Let me pull it up. Which one was it? It is this one here. So I had Josh Allen, James Cook, CeeDee Lamb for the game stack there. Then I took Rachaad White, Tyreek Hill, and Trey McBride. I like all those guys. All those guys have good upside. So yeah.
No, I like it. I unfortunately took Andrew's great advice and clearly told him to shove it up his ass, I guess, because I did not have a single game script. But I got a quarterback, Justin Fields. We just talked about him with Jamie. I do think that he's going to have a good day going up against a beat up Browns defense, at least on the ground. Mr. Saquon Barkley last time the Giants played the Saints, he scored a walk-off touchdown in overtime. So I'm hoping he does something similar there. And then I've got Ayuk, Nakua, and DJ Moore for my wide receivers. I think that this is one of those games where when IU pops, he really pops. When, like, he doesn't just get 100 yards, he gets like 150, a touchdown. So I think between him and Nakua going up against the terrible secondaries, and then I think DJ Moore, if the Chicago is going to have success, that Cleveland secondary is beat up. I think he's going to be the guy to go ahead and penetrate that defense. And you got Dalton Kincaid to wrap it up there in the end. So yeah, obviously those are pretty quick little fun drafts there over on Underdog Fantasy. We recommend them. It takes 5-10 minutes. And like I said, for the holidays, you're sitting around, you're waiting for, that Christmas ham to come out with your cousins, your uncles. You don't know what to do. Just tell them about Underdog, get them a free $100, and go draft some teams for the shot at 30K there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you look, like, there's so many. I mean, it's not even just NFL, obviously, right? It's NHL, it's NBA. There's there's playoff best ball too, not just week to week stuff as well. So I mean, there are so many tournaments, and there's different levels of entries too. $25, $5. There's $10, $3. So you got something for everybody. If somebody says that they don't like Underdog, then I don't know what the hell they're doing. They don't like football.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. All right, Andrew, you got anything for the people before we go here?
No, obviously, if you haven't joined the Discord already, please do so. We are on there, Sebastian and I both. We'll take any questions at any time on the Discord. Obviously, get at us on X as well. And yeah, man, no, I appreciate you having me on, Sebastian. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. As always, brother, it's very fun. And stay tuned, y'all. We may be bringing Andrew back here for another fun little Underdog playoff edition there. So. But yes, whether it's this show here or you find us every Sunday at the Fantasy Lounge where we're going live, we're taking your guys' questions. Reach out to us, whether it's get in the Discord, let's get the questions there. Follow us on X. That's at ARob23 for Andrew and at SGPN Football Doc for myself. Go ahead, subscribe to our YouTube. We're always putting out nice little shorts, getting you guys all the information. It's playoff times. No more messing around, guys. We're going to bring some championships, talk ball, and at the end of the day, win some money. So signing off here for the Degen Docs. Again, SGPN Football Doc here, and Andrew, good luck in week 15. Let's win some money, and let's keep riding to the fantasy football championships. We are out.